Welcome and good evening. Tonight we have 35 two-sentence horror stories from both Reddit and you guys in the comments. Most of these aren't for the faint-hearted, so with that said, let's begin. I was confused when my child said that he was taking a shower and then went downstairs. That confusion turned to horror when I heard the washing machine start. Andy didn't feel his frostbitten toes snap off during the night. The rest of him tasted even more delicious. I used to think my son's fascination with magic was adorable, until the day he made his little sister disappear and couldn't make her reappear. "Do you believe in ghosts?" my father once asked. "Sometimes I wish I didn't," I responded, never breaking eye contact with that thing in the corner right behind him. I thought it was a good idea to insist on a paternity test when the baby was born, but when the police joined the doctor to deliver the result, I found out they linked the DNA database to unsolved crimes. My wife began to cry when I gave her the ring. Onlookers began to run when they saw the grenade. The little boy smiled and said, "I'm Brian, I'm 8 years old." I smiled back as I slid the door to my van shut behind him. The scent is still very present in my house. I love the smell of decay. My girlfriend always said, "Can I give you head?" You could understand my horror when she gave me our neighbour's head. After inventing the first working time machine, I egotistically set it to 100 years in the past. After being stuck in that chair for 100 years, I'm finally able to get out of the time machine. As I started to speak at the funeral, my wife stopped crying. She was so sure she had used the right dose on me. I was confused when the father gave each of us a cup of ceremonial wine at the end of the mass. He'd never done that before. I was even more confused when Mummy gave me her cup and said, "It's time, baby," sobbing as I could hear people around me gagging and coughing. When the enemy snuck up on me, I quickly disarmed him and broke his neck. I regretted not dealing with my PTSD sooner as my wife lay lifeless on the kitchen floor. I was so relieved to wake up and be alive after such a horrific accident, until I realised my legs were scattered 20 feet away amongst my bike wreckage. His wife shook uncontrollably as he took her from behind. It was only after he finished that he realised she had been having a seizure. The farmer started the engine and began harvesting his crops. It was only when he saw a slurry of red splatter he remembered it was "Bring Your Daughter to Work Day." Seeing my ex-girlfriend's face in the news was a real blast from the past. Can't believe it's taken 7 years for someone to finally stumble across her body. As I cleaned my home from cobweb, I noticed that I seemingly kept running into more and more webs when I least expected it. Something tells me that it was not a coincidence when I woke up that night to silk binding me to my bed and 8 large hungry eyes staring at me from the dark. My daughter won't stop crying and screaming during the middle of the night. I visit her grave and ask her to stop, but it doesn't help. I heard my mum calling me into the kitchen. As I headed downstairs, I heard a whisper from the closet door saying, "Don't go down there, honey, I heard it too." I looked in my rearview mirror and saw my best friend sitting in the back seat. She died 7 years ago. I can't move, breathe, hear or speak. It's so dark all of the time. If I knew it'd be this lonely, I would have got cremated. They celebrated the first successful cryogenic freezing. He had no way of letting them know he was still conscious. I begged my new girlfriend to forgive me for using her dryer without asking her first. How was I supposed to know her cat liked to sleep in there? Honestly, it's a little disgusting to watch you eat. I knew it wouldn't take much to send my bulimic daughter off crying. I wasn't about to let her waste all of her birthday cake. I had butterflies in my stomach as my date kissed me inside his car after picking me up outside my house. Those butterflies turned to shock when I felt a needle prick the side of my neck. I think something is wrong with my anaesthetic, I say to my doctor. I counted down from 10, but I still feel awake. It's only as the scalpel begins to slice me open and I start screaming bloody murder that I realise they either can't hear me or they don't care. I sighed contently, trying to focus on the soft sound of rain and sleep. It was only when I looked out of the window that I realised the tapping wasn't rain at all. Every night I cry when I think about my husband serving life for a murder he didn't commit. And every day I come close to going to the police and telling them I'm still alive and well, but I never do. Why am I not dying? I thought as my body hung from the noose, paralysed in a desolate part of the town where no one ever visits. I watched my friend write a note. "That's not how I died," I said. My wife writhed on the floor, her fingers desperately looking for a EpiPen. I moved my phone up in front of my face to block the view and continued to swipe right. I squirmed playfully in my binds and spoke into the gag, ready to start our fun. The playfulness turned to horror when they unexpectedly collapsed and stopped moving. My son asked his AI teddy bear where people go when they die. It replied, "Would you like to find out?" I thought the shouting from the couple next door would never stop. After 2 loud bangs last week, I've been able to finally get some proper sleep. Thank you all for listening. Remember to leave your 2-sentence horror story down below for a chance for it to be featured in the next 2-sentence horror story episode. And with that said, I'll catch you all in the next one. Thank you.